Good morning. My name is Jim Jones, and I'm the Senior Network Administrator for the West Virginia Housing Development Fund. And this morning I'd like to talk to you about some of the realities for anybody that's new to like tech conferences and the tech community of if you live someplace where there isn't a whole lot of tech community and how you can join the bigger global and the benefits of it. All right, so we have to do disclaimer slide. So a little bit about me. So like I said, my name's Jim. I live and work in the Charleston, West Virginia area. I'm a V expert in what's called a VM Vanguard, which are tech communities. You can find me online at a bunch of places. Mainly my website and my Twitter handle is the best way. So if you're new to this, why is it important? Why is this something that you want to do? Well, first off, if you're talking about career benefits, it's one of the best ways that I've found in the five-ish years that I've really been going kind of crazy with this stuff to grow my own skills, both technically and the soft side of it. Being able to deal with, talk with others, talk about the technology that I'm doing, stand up and do these kind of things. This is, not really in any of our natural habitats up on a stage like this. Also, I find that the bigger my community gets, the more I find people that can challenge my own ideas. And from that, I then am able to find better thoughts and better ways to think through processes. And finally, when you're online and you're doing these kind of things or you're at events and that moment when you can assist others with, oh man, you got this problem, I had it 6 months ago, and you start rolling through it, well, that then cements things in your head. You also have access to resources. Those resources can be people. They can be, as you get deeper into it, you'll start finding people start throwing software licenses at you like Frisbees. So, you get a little home lab sitting up at home and you can then have that to go do things. And finally, you guys are here. You probably had some conversations, or if you've gone to a local VMUG anywhere, you'll start making those connections and have those conversations that it may not be the job 6 months from now, but maybe it's the guy that can get you into the one when you need it. So why is it hard if you don't live somewhere that makes sense? So I decided to make up a logo because there is no West Virginia VMUG. So we are in a van down by the river. So, I live in we have a smaller tech community, not that many tech jobs around, so we don't do a lot we don't get together, and when we do, it's usually vendor events. There's no VMUGs, there's no user groups, and a lot of times, at least for me, I found that when I was somebody that was a little more rural and I started talking to people, I'm like, these are some of the smartest people I've ever met, and I really don't have a lot of room to be talking to these people. Yes, you do. Get out, go find people. Everybody's pretty smart and everybody definitely has something to add to the conversation. Go do it. But it's a really hard thing for a lot of people to get past. As technologists, a lot of us are naturally introverts. Kind of reach out a little bit. So how do you make that work? Well, so the way that started for me was 5 years ago. I was walking down the hall at Cisco Live, my first conference ever, and somebody said, you should set up a Twitter account. So I did. From there, things snowballed down. You can talk about things, you can talk to others, that kind of stuff, but that and other social media. There's a lot of internet-based tech communities. These guys are one of the best on earth, vBrownBag. Really, if you want to learn anything, check out their website because you can pretty much learn it. Anybody here on Slack channels that aren't like work-related yet? So there's a lot of those that go around. Again, you get on social media and you'll find about them, especially walk around here and you'll find out. And it's a little more of an intimate conversation than just traditional social media. And then things, as general as Spiceworks or anything else along those lines. I mean, IRC, just go where it feels right for you. I am extremely lucky that I have a manager that gets the benefit of me being part of a community that's a whole lot bigger than me. So it might translate to time. It might translate to, me being here this week with some assistance from the company. And if you aren't in an organization where you don't have that support, they really do exist. I never thought I'd find it, and you know, once I got here and started talking to people, there's a lot more of them than you ever imagined there would be. I'm going to be live. If you want to stand and talk to people, you have to have a willingness to travel a little bit. I am an absolute homebody. If I could sit in my basement and sit in front of my computer screens all day long, that would be my natural habitat. But my rule is I give myself a 200-mile circle that, you know, once a quarter, once every 6 months or so, I'll go someplace. If you're up in my neck of the woods, like vBrisket is an awesome group of guys in Pittsburgh. They smoke meat, they drink beer, and they talk about tech for an afternoon. It's horrible. Also, any of the local VMUGs that aren't necessarily in your town, but around you. So I'll go to Lexington, Louisville, Columbus, that kind of stuff. And then finally, do exactly what you're doing right now. You're here. You know, if you can find a way to do these on the regular, you'll be amazed at how much you can get out and get to know people. Start finding answers to questions that you know that you're like, oh man, I'm going to have to call support on this. And what's the crapshoot that I'm going to get when I call them on the other end of it? Well, there's a lot of brain power around actually this room that these people are happy to talk to you and kind of help you when you need it. Sorry, there we go. Oh, there we go. So, you know, then you get to the logistics of it. We talked about the travel and all that kind of stuff. Well, how do you afford to be able to go places and do that kind of stuff? You know, the first thing that comes to mind is, well, maybe work might pay for it, or maybe something will happen, I can pay for it out of pocket. Well, you know, first thing with work, get management buy-in on community. It took a little while for me to learn how to do it. You know, there is inherent value to being here and to being at a vBrisket. It's not just smoke meat and drink beer. You know, you're meeting people that are close to your area. A lot of times they're VARs that maybe aren't close to you, that have a different line of thought than what you can get locally. You're also going to be able to get technical content in those places. You know, maybe what I've been able to do is sell that, you know, going to tech conferences and doing local community stuff. It's a whole lot cheaper than sending you to that 1 week ICM class. You know, so if you can start getting your way down the line and picking brains that way, it's a little cheaper. And again, maybe you can get PTO or get work paid travel. Anybody here run a blog or write or doing? Nah, just a few people in the back. You know, that's a great way. You start putting, what I find is the more I put my voice out there, the more the voice comes back to me. So, you know, you guys find an issue, write about it. Even if you think, oh, there's 17,000 posts on this already, you write your version of it, because there's going to be somebody that's going to find your version more helpful than the next. And that'll help. That goes for like podcasts or anything like that. Just kind of start putting yourself out there. You know, one way to get to travel to places is become a speaker. As you start to get to know people and do those kind of things, like for example, the last vBrisket, I sat on a panel, and you know, so they'll help. A lot of times in those cases, they'll help with the travel, like the actual monetary portion of it. And finally, you know, social media, all that kind of stuff. These kind of events, if you start watching the hashtags a few months beforehand, everybody's giving away passes. You know, you may or may not win, but lots of people do. Start going for it. As tying it into the blogging, you know, a lot of bloggers find a way to get a sponsored pass here. Or if you're a TAM customer, you know, kind of go through that way sometimes. So there's lots of ways to make it happen. But with that, that's all the spiel I've got. Anybody have any questions? No? All right.